Hi everyone, welcome back to Waterhouse Forde. Today's Sunday and we've spent the day mostly cleaning. I'll take you around in a minute and show you a couple of things that we've cleaned up today, getting ready for installing the outer race into the trumpet housing. We're about ready to do that, so I thought I would start videoing now and show you that. So yesterday you would have seen us sort of superheating heating the inner race and popping that down over the crown gear. Today we almost need to do the opposite, so we need to heat the trumpet housing, and I've been freezing the outer race of the bearing, which basically needs to slot inside the trumpet housing. So that's been freezing overnight. I'm sure it's going to be pretty cold now, and what we'll do is we'll heat up the trumpet housing as best we can with a blowtorch. It's a big chunk of steel, so it's going to take, certainly my blowtorch wouldn't get it, sort of red hot or anything silly like that. But I just heat it up a bit just to get it to expand as much as we can, and then pop the cold outer race inside or into the trumpet housing. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But as I say, we've been doing a lot of cleaning, so we've cleaned out inside the differential, so that's all nice and cleaned out now. Been cleaning all the surfaces where the gaskets need to go for the trumpet housing, and also on the end of the trumpet housing where the back plate for the brakes and the end of the shaft would go. So that's all nice. On the trumpet housing is all nice and clean now. What else have I done? I've started cleaning one of the faces on the diff itself. I'll show you. Basically, I don't have a stud remover, so what I have to do is use the locking two nuts together method, and then turning those out. And of course, that's quite slow. It does mean that you have to, even once you've got the stud out, you then have to take it over to the vise in order to grip it tightly enough to get the nut off again. So anyway, I've done one side, and I'll show you that. Also, just show you how I cleaned the faces ready for the gaskets. I'll talk a little bit about my method for doing that. I'm sure different people have different methods. I'll show you mine. Look, it works for me. I can't recall ever having a gasket actually leak, so it works. So I'll talk you through all of that, and then we'll go over and we'll start with the bearings and get those popped in. So I hope you enjoy it. Hope it's entertaining, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so here you can see the two trumpet housings ready for the bearings to go in. Hopefully you can see this. I'll try and show you. I've cleaned inside. There, maybe it doesn't look like it, but that is basically as clean as I can get it, ready to accept the bearing race. And then these surfaces here, I've cleaned all these up as well. Now, as I said, my method for that is I soak it with a little bit of engine degreaser first. I then have a sharp scraper, a very sharp scraper, which I use to remove any old gasket and any other dirt that might still be on the surface. And when all of that's off, I wash it again with the degreaser. And then what I do is I use one of these multi-tools. This is a multi-tool. I'm sure you've seen it before. You can see it's a little bit dirty, but basically just do with a sanding head on it. That's a 80 grit sandpaper. Anyway, what I do, I run that over the surface to get it, basically just to polish it up as best I can, and also just to remove any final bits of dirt and any burrs that may exist. And what you land up with is this nice, smooth and shiny surface. I mean, obviously you can't see it on the camera, but this is super smooth. I mean, when I run my fingers over there, it basically feels like a polished surface, and that's ultimately what you're looking for. And that's my method of doing it. I'll take you over and show you the corresponding face on the diff. So you can see inside there, inside the differential is now nice and clean. Try and move the light yeah, that again, just engine cleaner, what do you call it, degreaser, and mixed with a little bit of water, flushed it out, scraped it, scrubbed it, and finally got all that cleaned out. And then there's the surface, bit of glare on that, but essentially you can see again how nice and smooth that surface is, ready for the gasket to go on, and then the trumpet housing. And of course I need to put the studs back and get that all nice and clean. One thing to mention, just if you're doing this job yourself, watch out for this. It is sharp. I mean, I didn't take it off. I didn't see any reason to take it off. But do just be careful when you're working around it, because it is sharp and you can obviously cut yourself. I managed not to, which is a good thing. But it's just something to watch out for. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. You may recall last weekend, or rather a couple of weekends ago, in my last video, we removed the hydraulic control lever. Now, when we did that, we found that it was full of dirt, as in it was very dirty. Now, what I managed to do, I hope I'm going to be able to do this on camera, but I managed to shine a torch inside there, and I'm going to try to get the light so that you can see it as well. Let me just swap hands. Okay, it's probably about, I mean, it's not the best picture, but you can see what I'm seeing, right? There's a lot of dirt inside that transmission case. I'm struggling to work out how that would have occurred. Is it just water that's got in there and it's caused the oil to go kind of funny? To me it looks more like dirt, as in, I don't know, sand, mud, that kind of thing. But again, just confirming really what we said last weekend, is that we are unfortunately going to have to open the transmission case. Right, so I'm going to now get set up for the bearings to go into the trumpet housings, and I'll come back when that's all set up. So as I said, the idea here is we're going to heat this section of the trumpet housing as much as we can. I only have one of these little blow torches. I hope that it's going to do the job. But the main thing really is I've been freezing the outer race. I keep saying inner. It's the outer race which goes internal, internal to this. So the main thing is I've been freezing that, and I'm hoping that that's going to be cold enough for it to make a difference. So here we go. A little bit of the degreaser obviously burning off there that I've used to clean it. Oh, go on. I don't know whether that's enough or not, because A, I've never done this before, and B, I've got no way of measuring how hot that actually is. I'm going to pop a little bit of oil on here, which will probably make a bit of smoke, so forgive me for the visuals. Hopefully it won't get in the camera. No, this seems to be okay. I don't want to touch it to spread the oil, so it's proving to be a little bit challenging because the oil can doesn't want to work upside down. So I think that's probably as good as it's going to get. I might have to try with a piece of wood just to spread that oil. Okay. We've got oil everywhere there. Now what I've done, this is the bearing. It's been in the freezer. Hopefully you can see that's nice and frozen. This is number 1. You might recall we marked the bearing and the race as number 1 to make sure that we match the bearing back up with the same race that they came with. Again, I don't know if it actually matters, but I'm doing it anyway. You can see how nice and frozen that is. Now the key here obviously is to try to get it to go in straight if you can. And that may be more difficult than it sounds. Right, it's going in well. Now we'll need to use the punch. Get that to seat right down. Forgive the noise. It feels solid. And I think it probably is all the way down. I will check in a second. One more whack just to be sure. There we go. That, I believe, is all the way down. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. That has gone all the way down. And hopefully you can see how easy that was. Although I did obviously have to hit it. It didn't just pop in. But that is probably one of the easiest bearing races, outer races I've ever installed. So it definitely helps both heating and cooling your two different surfaces, and that is a lovely job. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one now, and we'll get that one in as well, and then I'll try and cover these off so that they don't get any dirt on them until we're ready to pop them in. Next weekend I will have the bushes that go in here for the brake cross shaft, and also the Welsh plug that goes in this one. On the other one, there is no Welsh plug, and I'll show you that when I get there. Okay, I'll just swap over and I'll come back. Okay, there we go, that's the second one. And I mentioned earlier about the Welsh plug. On this one, you've obviously got that deflector that sits here. Let me get it. So this is the deflector. And it obviously has a machined plug, I guess you'd call it. There's two shims that go on here, and then that pops in there, blocks off that side, so you don't need the Welsh plug on this one. Which I didn't know that. That was something I learned today. Anyway, that's a good thing. Right, so what we'll do now, we'll heat up this one, and then I'll heat it halfway, same as I did last time. I'll heat it halfway, and then I'll run and fetch the race out of the freezer. It's just upstairs. And then I'll finish heating it, and we'll pop it in. So here we go. Right, I'm going to give that a go. Try and get some oil on it. Okay, there we go, another frozen race. This is number 2. It is very cold, but there we go. It actually sounds like it's hit home on one side, so we'll just get that pop down properly. There we go. You can hear how the sound changes when it hits home. Well, hopefully you can hear that. There you go. I'm happy with that. I am pretty certain that's gone all the way down. Yep. So there you go. There's the second outer race installed into the trumpet housing without much ado. I'm happy with that. I'll let those both of those cool down so that they seat nicely, and then I'll just oil them up and just cover this up so that no dirt or anything gets on it. Also just oil these surfaces so they stay nice and clean, ready for reassembly. Probably don't want to touch that. It looks like it may have a little bit of dirt on there. Oh no, that's fine. Okay, well there you go everyone. I'm happy with that. I thought I'd show you quickly what I've done just to protect these bearings. You can see, I'll go a bit closer. Basically smother them in oil, and then I put a paper towel over them, and then a plastic bag. I also put this bag over the whole arrangement just to keep any dirt out. And I don't know if you can see, but I've basically done the same thing on the other side, just to keep the crown gear nice and clean and those bearings nice and clean. And then over here at the trumpet housings, which we've just put the inner races in, similar thing. I've covered everything in oil. All the polished surfaces have been smothered in oil. Bearing race has been smothered in oil. A little bit paper towel inside there, again, that's probably a bit overkill. And then just drag this plastic, or drape this plastic over it, just to keep the dirt out in the next week or so, until we get around to reassembly. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that you may find that interesting. I think at this stage of the game, cleanliness is all important, and and I think it's good that we keep everything nice and clean, give it the best chance of staying nice and clean, so that when it goes back, again, we've got the best chance of it all staying healthy. So that's about it for this week. In fact, that is it for this week. I want to go up now to the house and warm up, have a cup of coffee, and relax for the rest of the weekend. So look, I hope that this has again been both enjoyable, entertaining, maybe a little bit educational. Look, I don't purport to be a teacher. I'm really just doing this to catalogue what we're doing, and almost for myself to have a history, or have a video diary of what we've done on this Ferguson TED20. But again, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's interesting to you. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next video. Cheers for now.